Tell me, like, the dumbest court martial that you've ever defended.
As they say in Top Gun, the list is long and distinguished. I'm trying to think about an example of the dumbest one. The one that comes to mind is, gosh, there was an Air Force senior NCO. He spent most of his time in special warfare. It was out of that not out of doing special warfare, and was back in garrison as a maintainer. And he had very strict standards for his maintainers, but he was of basically a different generation, kind of what we call an old school NCO, and he had a bunch of very soft airmen. And he would start making them do actual work, and God forbid they're actually doing work in the hangar. And he got really upset one day because someone had to mop the hangar, and they're doing this crazy mop line, and he asked, "What the hell are you doing out there?" And this young airman was actually trying to chase down a Pokemon on his phone during the duty hours while mopping. He's like, "What the hell's a Pokemon?" Right? And so that started one story. And there was story after story after story. And the funniest, what brought this case to court martial is they were telling stories about on deployment, all the things you may have to do. And there was a story going around about having to drink water from a river, a polluted river, using what's called a life straw. And all the people in the unit started coming around talking about the ability or not to do that. And someone came up with a bright idea of urinating and defecating in the toilet and see if an airman would drink it out of a life straw, right? And this is very Marine Corps and not Air Force. But this absolutely happened. And so you had a young airman who's like, "I can do it, I can do it, I can do it." And everyone got around, and he freaking grabbed a life straw, went down and drank the water with the urine and fecal matter in it through a life straw. And everyone was cheering him on, and he was a hero because I think that was great, right? This esprit de corps building, a couple of the airmen thought it was pretty inappropriate and called it up to higher. And there was that, and there were some other things that happened as well. The step NCO who was encouraging it was brought up on essentially hazing and bullying charges for, I guess, coercing a young airman to drink out of a toilet with a straw, I guess, with a life straw, yelling at them during the duty hour to make them actually mop the hangar. Another one was he went and did a barracks room inspection, and there was a hamper with dirty clothes, and there was some underwear, some tighty-whities that had some fecal matter on it, and he gave the young airman with that, he gave them the nickname of Shit Stain, which didn't work out very well. That then turned into Skids, and his nickname was Skids for several months, and that was part of the charge sheet. And the funny thing is, I went all the way to trial, and the airman testified saying he didn't mind the name. He thought it was kind of cool, and everyone kind of joked around that, because if you're in the military and you get a nickname or a call sign, it's never what you want the call sign to be. And so this insanity went to trial, and this was an airman, a staff NCO with, I think he had 5 or 6 combat deployments into very high-risk areas. He had spent a lot of his time in special warfare, and I couldn't believe, and he was at 20 years, since they were trying to ruin this NCO's career, and all he was really trying to do was hold these airmen accountable, and the airmen actually loved him, except for a handful. The airmen loved him because he was tough, but he was tough on them, but really someone they could go to, someone they could shoot, someone who would shoot them straight, and it went all the way to a general court martial. And it took nearly, from the time he was charged to the time he went to trial, it took almost 11 months where he's sitting, not doing anything, not being productive for the Air Force, kind of having his entire career on the line. And it went to trial. And I couldn't believe it went to trial, but an Air Force jury acquitted him. It was like they acquitted him like in 20 minutes. It really renewed my faith. I was worried. I was like, in the Marine Corps, they'd acquit him in a minute. I was a little bit worried about it, but in 20 minutes, they had him acquitted, and it really renewed my faith in the system. But that was just stupid. And that's the best way I can put it. Those charges were just stupid. But it went to trial anyways.